Canada appears to be following China's lead, but it may come at a high cost to national unity. Setting out to construct the largest dam in the region's history, the country initially aimed to become a global leader in green energy. However, 74 years on, and with a budget that spiraled far beyond original estimates, the project has become a source of ongoing challenges. From sparking political tensions to raising environmental concerns, the undertaking has unleashed a wave of unexpected turmoil. So what exactly is the Site C Dam? Why has it stirred up so much controversy? And how can a single dam both promise an incredible future and yet risk destabilizing an entire region? Hydroelectricity is one of the closest things we have to limitless clean energy. It's so efficient that it provides about 60% of Canada's electricity and powers around 1.7 million electric vehicles annually. Now, while Canada does use other energy sources, like uranium, which accounts for up to 15% of power, natural gas at 11%, and other sources like wind and tidal power making up about 14%, hydroelectricity is especially well suited to Canada, much like it is for China. In every sense, hydroelectricity is like Canada's perfect sidekick, almost tailor-made for the country's natural landscape. Seriously, think about it. Canada has an endless network of rivers, lakes, and waterways running across its vast landscape. It's basically a countrywide water park, but with rivers powerful enough to light up homes and industries. And we mean that literally. Canada has around 2 million lakes, which is more than any other country in the world. In fact, roughly 60% of the world's lakes are in Canada. Now, to put that in perspective, Russia comes in second with just about 200,000 lakes, a fraction of Canada's total. The United States, known for its Great Lakes that it shares with Canada, has approximately 125,000 lakes, while Sweden, another lake-rich country, has around 100,000. Canada's vast number of lakes and rivers is almost surreal. It's like the country hit the lottery on water bodies. This network doesn't just add to Canada's scenic beauty. It's a massive natural advantage for generating hydroelectricity and supporting freshwater ecosystems. So while other countries need to invest in extensive infrastructure to access or conserve water, Canada is naturally equipped with abundant waterways, offering both scenic beauty and resources for large-scale sustainable energy production. Canada is, in essence, so rich in water resources that it seems purpose-built for hydroelectric power generation. And then there are the mountains, like the rugged peaks of British Columbia and beyond. These aren't just for spectacular hikes or skiing. They create ideal spots for massive dams. It's like setting up natural water slides where gravity does all the work, as water rushes down from high elevations with enough force to spin turbines, generating electricity almost effortlessly. Gravity itself becomes a powerhouse. But it's not just geography that plays a role. Canada's long snowy winters, which might seem like a challenge, actually contribute to the system. Snowpacks build up all winter, and when they melt in spring, rivers swell with renewed energy, delivering a fresh infusion of power each year, courtesy of nature. This dependable cycle gives Canada a renewable, consistent power source that doesn't deplete, unlike fossil fuels, which are costly, polluting, and of course, finite. And here's the best part. Hydroelectricity is widely popular in Canada. It's clean, sustainable, and far greener than oil or coal. Plus, once these dams are built, the energy they generate is incredibly affordable. It's like an all-you-can-eat buffet of electricity. Cover the initial setup costs, and you're set for years with minimal expenses. With all this in mind, what makes Site C stand out? After all, Canada already has over 15,000 dams, with 1,157 classified as large dams. Now, if you think Site C is special because it's a hydroelectric power plant, then you'd be wrong, because Canada has more than 595 hydroelectric power plants and is the world's third largest producer of hydroelectricity. So what exactly is going on? Well, Site C is a hydroelectric dam under construction on the Peace River, 14 kilometers southwest of Fort St. John in northern British Columbia, Canada. Although, compared to other similar projects in the world, the Site C Dam doesn't particularly take the cake, the project still manages to be Canada's most expensive project ever. Costing a whopping $16 billion, the Site C Dam project is a true giant of modern engineering in its own right. And why wouldn't it be? The Site C Dam spans an impressive 1,050 meters, longer than 10 football fields laid out end to end. Not to mention, it towers about 60 meters high, the height of a 6-story building. It's even got a 10-meter wide crest, which is enough space to fit 2 school buses side by side with a little room to spare. When complete, the Site C reservoir will stretch a winding 83 kilometers, over 50 miles, about the same distance as driving across the whole of Manhattan 4 times. In terms of width, it's expected to be 2 to 3 times wider than the Peace River it will cover, forming an enormous, mirror-like body of water. Then there's the buttress, the backbone of the dam. This structure will span 800 meters in length and rise 70 meters tall. It's like laying the Eiffel Tower on its side, with a few extra meters added. Standing as tall as a 23-story building, it will anchor the dam firmly against the river's force. Feeding water through the dam are 2 concrete-lined tunnels, each 11 meters in diameter. For this, just imagine 2 subway tunnels side by side, cut through rock and lined with reinforced concrete, channeling thousands of cubic meters of water per second. Got it? Good. 'Cause this ride gets wilder. Feeding into the turbines are 6 enormous penstocks, each stretching 80 meters, nearly the length of a city block, and 10 meters wide, equivalent to the width of a 2-lane road. These funnels channel water down with tremendous pressure, driving the turbines to generate power. Speaking of power, the generating station will house 6 183 megawatt turbines. Altogether, Site C will crank out about 4,600 gigawatt hours of electricity annually. That's enough power for about 500,000 homes, or 1.7 million electric vehicles in British Columbia. That's equivalent to powering nearly the entire population of Vancouver, or giving juice to half of British Columbia's electric cars. Building the Site C Dam was no ordinary engineering feat. It was a monumental challenge, requiring engineers to navigate the complex geology of the Peace River Valley. From the start, they faced a landscape layered with clay, sand, gravel, and bedrock. Understanding how these soils would behave was crucial, especially with soft clay layers that pose significant risks of settlement. Because of this, extensive geological surveys were conducted to assess the load-bearing capacity of the ground, and ultimately, the foundation needed to be meticulously crafted to ensure stability. Excavation played a crucial role in this endeavor, as engineers dug down to depths of up to 40 meters or 131 feet to reach solid bedrock, employing advanced excavation techniques and heavy machinery. This deep foundation required not just sheer power, but also finesse, as they navigated the varying soil types to create a level base for the dam. To further fortify this foundation, a grouting technique was used, where a cement-based mixture was injected into the soil to fill voids and stabilize the soil. This innovative approach was crucial in creating a robust substrate capable of supporting the enormous structure. Water management also proved to be another shocking complexity for the project. See, engineers implemented dewatering systems to control groundwater levels, ensuring safe excavation without compromising the foundation's integrity. But that wasn't all, because diverting the Peace River was no small task. That's right, they literally moved the whole river. This process involved constructing cofferdams, which, by the way, are temporary structures built to create a dry work area for holding back water from a construction site, allowing construction work to proceed safely below water level. It also included channels to maintain water flow while construction progressed. Adding to the intrigue, the design had to account for seismic activity in the region. That's because BC is overdue for an earthquake. Because of this, advanced modeling techniques were employed to ensure the dam could withstand potential earthquakes, incorporating flexible design elements that enhanced resilience. The result was not just a dam, but proof of how engineering can conquer nature's challenges while providing a sustainable energy future. Now, for our experts out there, you would have noticed that by global standards, Site C isn't as massive as the Three Gorges Dam in China, which stands a towering 185 meters and spans 2,335 meters. However, by Canadian standards, Site C is a true mega project, with its earthfill structure marking a significant shift from the typical concrete arch dams seen in other large-scale installations. For example, the WAC Bennett Dam, which sits on the same river, stands higher than Site C at 186 meters, but has a shorter crest. So is that what makes it such a big deal? Well, yes and no. While the project is undeniably massive, what really sets it apart is the intense controversy surrounding it. Remarkably, in a country known for its dams and over 500 hydroelectric plants, many people are strongly opposed to building another one. So what's really happening here? The challenge with Site C isn't about infrastructure. It's an environmental issue rooted in its chosen location, the Peace River. The Peace River is already controlled by two massive dams, each with significant environmental impacts. First came the WAC Bennett Dam in the 1960s, an engineering marvel that created Williston Lake, Canada's largest artificial reservoir, generating enough power for millions, but flooding over 1,760 square kilometers of pristine boreal forests and wetlands. That's equivalent to flooding all of London twice, or wiping out the area of 4 entire New York cities. It's like losing over 246,000 soccer fields or stacking 260,000 Olympic-sized swimming pools, all submerged underwater. You get the picture, right? As if this was not bad enough, the WAC Bennett Dam was followed by the Peace Canyon Dam in 1980, which was smaller, but built to maximize power by controlling water flows from Bennett. This dam added another layer of impact, altering the river's natural rhythms and pushing fish species and water-reliant ecosystems to either adapt or disappear. Now, why does this affect Site C? Well, that's because the Site C Dam is planned to flood even more of the diverse Peace River Valley, an area abundant with wildlife, old-growth forests, and indigenous lands crucial to local communities. With each new dam, the Peace River faces further transformation, pushing it closer to a tipping point as more land is sacrificed for energy production. To truly understand this, we need to go all the way back to the planning phase. The battle for Site C has been a long one, stretching all the way back to the 1950s, when the Peace River was proposed as a preferred site for a third dam. Spearheaded by BC Hydro, Site C Dam was pitched as more than just a hydroelectric project. It was actually a bold, forward-thinking answer to British Columbia's future energy demands and environmental commitments. The company predicted that energy demand would increase by 40% over the next 2 decades, driven by growth in BC's population and economy. And Site C was designed to deliver reliable power to about 500,000 homes. The goal was straightforward: harness clean, renewable energy to support the province's low-carbon objectives, particularly as BC moves toward widespread electrification of industries and the adoption of electric vehicles. Site C also promised a massive economic boost, bringing thousands of jobs to northern communities and spurring local industries, infrastructure, and tourism. Though the initial cost was substantial, around $6 billion, BC Hydro argued that Site C's projected lifespan of over 100 years would offer a stable, affordable power source, insulated from the volatility of fossil fuel prices. For BC Hydro, it was about achieving energy independence. Site C would make British Columbia more self-sufficient, decreasing the reliance on expensive electricity imports during peak demand or dry seasons. In practical terms, Site C was more than just a dam. It was a crucial step toward a greener, more sustainable, and economically stable future for British Columbia. But the people hated this plan. The approval process for the Site C Dam was fraught with challenges, marked by heated debates over environmental impacts, economic feasibility, and Indigenous rights. Initially proposed decades ago, Site C had been on the back burner until this man, Harry Swain, a former bureaucrat and head of the Federal Provincial Review Panel, stepped in to scrutinize the project. Swain's panel identified significant environmental and economic risks, questioning the dam's necessity and advising a careful evaluation of alternatives like geothermal and wind power. He warned that the costs, both financial and environmental, could outweigh the benefits, especially if energy demand didn't grow as projected. And yes, he was right, but he was also wrong. See, the population and demand skyrocketed, and soon Site C was looking more like a necessity. But the cost? We'll get back to that. As the project progressed, newly elected Premier John Horgan took office in 2017. Known for his opposition to the Site C project, Horgan's election raised public expectations that he might put an end to the controversial dam. But that wasn't the case, because John came into power when Site C was at a critical juncture, with over $2 billion already sunk into the project. John faced a tough choice: either cancel the dam and incur substantial cancellation fees, or move forward with a project that even his own party had doubts about. Despite vocal opposition within his base, Horgan ultimately approved Site C, citing the heavy financial burden that cancellation would impose on taxpayers and the loss of potential economic benefits. Essentially, he chose to continue because canceling was too expensive, famously saying, "Site C is not the project our government favored. It is not the project we would have started, but we must complete it." His decision sparked a backlash from environmentalists, indigenous communities, and even Swain, who publicly criticized Horgan for ignoring the panel's warnings. And remember the cost we talked about earlier? Well, it skyrocketed to 16 billion Canadian dollars, not only making it Canada's most expensive project, but also the most controversial, especially when we factor in Treaty 8. See, Treaty 8, signed on the 21st of June 1899, covers a vast area of northeastern British Columbia, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and the Northwest Territories, granting Indigenous people rights to land and resources. Well, this area, larger than France, is the proposed site for the Site C Dam. As such, the Site C Dam project raised significant concerns among the Treaty 8 communities as it threatened their traditional lands, fishing, and hunting rights. Indigenous groups argued that flooding the Peace River Valley would infringe on their treaty rights and disrupt their cultural heritage. However, despite protests and legal challenges, the provincial government moved forward, leading to deep divisions between Indigenous communities and the government. But why take the risk? Is the only reason to continue the project that it would be too costly to cancel? Well, there are three main reasons the government continues with the Site C Dam project, despite the risks, and the first is economic. Site C is expected to create about 10,000 direct and indirect jobs, translating to roughly 11,000 job years, and even up to 33,000 years when including those not directly involved with the project. Behind the employment benefits, the dam is projected to generate 1,100 megawatts of hydroelectric power, enough to supply electricity to approximately 500,000 homes. This could lead to over $1 billion in annual revenue for BC Hydro through electricity sales, bolstering the province's broader energy strategy. Not to mention, the project is also anticipated to contribute significant tax revenue to local, provincial, and federal governments, which can be reinvested in public services and infrastructure. Back to job creation. Once operational, the Site C Dam is expected to generate around 35 permanent jobs for ongoing operations and maintenance, along with more opportunities in related industries. BC Hydro has also pledged to collaborate with Indigenous communities, which could result in additional economic benefits through shared revenue agreements and local contracts. Beyond economics, the second reason for the project is more speculative than certain. With its ability to generate 1,100 megawatts of renewable energy, some experts suggest that Site C was not just envisioned as an isolated project, but as a key energy source for nearby LNG facilities. As these plants increase production, they could greatly benefit from the clean energy provided by Site C, potentially creating a more sustainable model for natural gas extraction and liquefaction. Meanwhile, the ambitious Coastal GasLink pipeline project, designed to transport natural gas from northeastern BC to the LNG facilities on the coast, adds another layer of intrigue. See, this pipeline is projected to create thousands of jobs, fueling speculation about an economic boom in the region. Together with Site C, it positions British Columbia as a key player in the global energy market, opening doors to international trade opportunities that could enhance the province's economic stability. However, the intertwining of these projects raises questions about the long-term environmental impacts. Critics argue that while the dam could offer a cleaner energy source for LNG operations, the environmental impact of flooding the Peace River Valley and disturbing local ecosystems could be significant. Additionally, many believe the dam is merely greenwashing the LNG industry, giving the impression that it's environmentally friendly. But what's your take? Will this project truly improve life for the people? Or is it Canada's most costly mistake? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you want to stay in the loop on all things mega projects and urban development, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Don't forget to watch this video to discover how Egypt's decision to challenge the world could have been even more catastrophic than Canada's. Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.